All right, so myth number one that I want to talk about is that the ketogenic diet is a high protein diet. The ketogenic diet is not a high protein diet. It is pretty much the same amount of protein that is currently being recommended in the high carb, low fat. So when it comes to low carb or low fat, it's really not the protein that we're switching around. It's the carbs are coming down in the keto and fat's going up, and vice versa for the low fat. Protein's pretty much the same. And I think that goes for almost all the diets. Our protein requirement is pretty much self-regulated. It's very hard to try and gorge yourself on protein. There's a strong signal that tells you to stop eating that you don't have, as most of us know, with carbohydrates. It's very easy to overconsume carbohydrates. It's easy to consume carbs after you're full with the protein and you are stuffed, and then you look and you see a chocolate cake at the restaurant and you can still fit it in. So that being said, is the protein requirements for the low carb or the low fat are pretty much exactly the same. They recommend for the low fat 10 to 35%. Okay, for the high fat, low carb, the keto, we're doing 15 to 30%. So it's pretty much exactly the same. If we're doing this on a 2,000 calorie diet, for protein for the low fat would be 50 grams to 175 grams. That's high. That's a lot of protein, 175 grams, okay? And with the low carb, it's 75 to 150 grams. All right, so we are not consuming large amounts of protein. We can stop talking about how it's going to ruin our kidneys, all right? That is not going to happen. Most of the protein that's overconsumed is converted into glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis. I personally never consume 150 grams of protein. I must be easily closer to the 75 grams most days. I don't count macronutrients anyways. So I basically eat keto and don't give a crap if I'm in keto. I just am aware where the carbs are, and the rest, fat, protein, I just eat it. I just eat fat and protein, and I eat more if I'm hungry, and I don't eat when I'm not hungry. It's a pretty simple process. So since people believe or keep on saying the myth that it's a high protein diet, then they start adding that it's a lot of animal products. You're just gorging yourself on animal products. Again, if you're going to say that about the keto diet, then you have to say that based on your current recommendations, because the protein is exactly the same. And if you have an issue and you want to go keto, you have an issue with processed meats, good. You're not supposed to consume them. All right. If you are concerned about the studies on the red meat, and well, don't eat red meat on your keto diet. So as you can see, it's just based, I think, a lot on Atkins that first came out. And with Atkins, it was a higher protein, higher fat diet, restricted, especially during the weight loss phase, very restricted carbohydrates also. So I guess that's where the idea that it's a high protein diet came from, because the low carb diet before keto was primarily, the big one was Atkins. So I think that it's just been assumed that you're eating a lot of animal products. Keto is considered just a little bit less than what's the current guidelines, because of the fear that if you're consuming too much protein, it might pop you out of ketosis, because you're consuming protein and it's getting converted, some of it, to sugar, because you don't need the protein for your structures. That's the idea. Personally, if protein is sending me out of ketosis, then good. I don't mind. All right. I like variation. I think that it's anything where your body is continuously in a certain state, it becomes resistant. So I think that popping in and out of ketosis is more realistic, more beneficial. I think it imitates probably more how humans were. They were getting some vegetations. They were popping out of ketosis more often. So the myth that you have to stuff your face with red meat, well, the current recommendations are exactly the same when it comes to protein requirements. And you don't have to consume a large amount of red meat or processed meat if that's an issue. Stop saying that it's a bacon diet. What we're saying is that if you're in a ketogenic diet, you want to remain in nutritional ketosis, in a ketosis state, then if you would eat bacon, it would not throw you out of ketosis. Therefore, yes, bacon is permitted on the ketogenic diet. Is it considered healthy? No, it's a processed food. Okay, so it's just as unhealthy for keto people as it is for low-fat people. So it's not a bacon diet, but yes, you can consume it. Now, that being said, okay, there are some junk food that are carbs. So if I'm going to have the rationale that, well, it's unhealthy, the keto diet, because they allow bacon, then I'm going to say, well, a vegan diet's unhealthy because they allow Skittles, because they allow chocolate bars, because they allow sweets. So a healthy vegan diet, they would not incorporate all of this crap in it. And the same goes for keto people. You could be consuming large amount of vegetable oils, having no clue that the vegetable oils are high in omega-6 that are causing a lot of inflammation and health problems. So you could be sucking down the vegetable oil, and you could be sucking down the hot dogs and the bacon and losing weight and everything. Yeah, sure, you're going to lose weight, but you are definitely not following the recommendations for a healthy ketogenic diet. All right, see you guys.